Welcome back to Season 5 of The Rock Movers, the podcast for empowered women who are navigating life's biggest transitions, challenges, and moving life's biggest rocks. I'm your host, Karen Gray, and I can't wait for us to get started with today's guest and episode. Are you ready? Let's move some rocks. Okay, today our guest is going to take us on an adventure because that is literally what she does as a career now. Anna VanAtgmaal is the founder of Wandering Roots, where she hosts adventure retreats for women all over the world. Today we talk about some of her favorite places to host retreats, some of the things that she thinks you should consider to have the best retreat ever, and she also has some programs and courses to help you learn how to build a profitable retreat. For those who want to earn more money in your business, host executive and elite experiences for your clients, she has helped create exquisite experiences for her clients and will give you some tips on how to do that today. She's also got a free DIY retreat guide that you can grab in the show notes, and you can connect with her to learn more. So without hesitation, let's go ahead and jump right into the episode with my new bestie from the retreat world. I love her, and you will too, Anna VanAtgmaal. Anna, thank you so much for being here and for all that you're doing. I am excited about today's conversation.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so you and I had an opportunity to speak earlier, and we kind of geeked out about all things retreats, but I am really looking forward to hearing more about just your personal story and how your initial rocks with your health and whatever else you feel comfortable sharing, how that impacted you. And so let's just kind of start there, if you will.
So, I actually turned 40 this year, which is, I'm not saying that's old, young, or whatever, but when I was 28, I had neck surgery, and they removed the fifth vertebrae in my cervical spine. And at that time, I thought I was invincible. I never thought about mortality. I was in my 20s.
Right?
I thought that's what happened to old people. And so it rocked my world for real. And the recovery was pretty awful. I had to spend 4 months in a neck brace, and it was humbling and all the things. But during that time, I was trying to find alternative ways to sort of live with my new neck and not to live with chronic pain for the rest of my life. And I started doing yoga. I started taking a lot better care of myself, and just honestly healed myself from an emotional level. And I wasn't expecting that. I was just trying to get the physical pain to go away. And being a very highly motivated, nonstop pursuing my dreams and career, I was very aware that I had achieved more than I ever thought I would in my career. I was a lab manager at the time for a molecular diagnostics lab, and I hated it. I was miserable, and I was terrified to realize that I had never thought about what I wanted. Just was kind of going through the motions and achieve, and being very practical. And
I'm sure you're the only one on the earth that's ever done that, right? I think everybody's listening to this going, yes, that's me. I did that too.
God,
oh my gosh,
terrible.
I can relate. I know personally, I can totally relate.
Yeah, it's like to feel your own mortality and then have that realization. I just was like, there has to be more. There has to be more to life. I have to enjoy it more. There's no way this has to be it. So, I just started doing things that terrified me, that like interested me though, like that little tug of like, I want to try this, but it's so scary. And I just started pushing myself out of my comfort zone, trying to find just things I liked and and it really started as hobbies. But then eventually I was like honest with myself about I have to make a career change. So I did.
So you were overcoming the health challenge or the physical challenge
Mhm.
and stepping into really scary places. What was that like?
It was
So it wasn't like jumping out of planes or anything that would you're
no, it was like again, achieve. So I didn't really have like hobbies. I didn't have any like way I like enjoyed
yeah.
time or like whatever. And so like I wanted to try yoga. I wanted to travel
Mm,
more. I wanted to take an art class, like just things of like being
yeah.
a beginner, like the
Things
older
that we
you
call
get, like
bucket list things that we think are gonna be like in our
yeah,
70s and 80s, and then
yeah,
you're like, "No, I'm gonna start now. I'm
yeah.
gonna start
'Cause you're
now."
not
I love
guaranteed your
it.
70s or your 80s. You could just
Right.
take a half hour tomorrow on a Tuesday.
Yeah,
But
that's so good. So you were in this really high stress position
mhm,
and taking a look at life could be different. So now you talked about like you went through like internal healing too, and
mm.
what was that? Tell us a little bit about that story. Like
I
how did that accidentally happen? Because
accidentally for
accidentally
sure.
on purpose, right? With a lot of work.
Yeah, so I really did find yoga for a physical level. I wanted to like learn more about my body and like maybe some PT I could do at home and things. And
Mm-hmm.
the more I started to do that, the more I sort of was like spending time with people that have been doing it for a while and had been like dipping their toe into meditation. And I had never
Yeah.
who could sit quietly for a extended period of time. And I'm talking 5 minutes was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Two.
And
I mean, two is like an
I know
accomplishment
it's
some
hard.
days.
It's hard. And so, when you sort of allow yourself just the space to sit and be, you get to hear what's going on and maybe the things you've been pushing down. And
Mm,
I think that I had a couple like moments, even going through college, of like, maybe this isn't for me. And I just kept ignoring
mhm.
it. And all of those things that sort of those nudges from the universe, I like to call them, they were just all like front and center. One, I couldn't work
Yeah.
for 4 months, and two, I started meditating, and I was like, oh, all of these things that I've
Wow.
buried. Yeah, I think too that I really, really I had this like debilitating thought of like, if I've had this much success with something I don't love, like could I have even wildly more success with something I'm passionate about? Like you would think, right?
Yeah.
But that was still, I had no clue what I wanted to do. And I was very linear thinking of like, okay, I'll just take a different role in the same field.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
starting over just didn't even like hit me yet. I didn't think that was possible. And honestly,
So
it probably took me 5 years to get there. I slowly like started doing things that interested me. And then the job I was in when I was on disability, I had just
mhm.
started. I was the first employee. I built the lab, I hired the staff, I bought the equipment, I bought the inventory and managed it. And so I was given this like opportunity to just sort of be an entrepreneur with no financial risk. And I was completely unaware of that. Like in the first year, I just was like, oh, interesting, I got a new
Yeah.
job and this is the thing that's going to fix it. Cause the first problem was I didn't like my boss, but really it's just, again, it was the field.
Yeah.
Um, so anyways, I did that. I tried to quit and take a different job and more of like a sales role for a different company. And they gave me a
Mhm.
lot of money, current employer, to stay. And I went to my husband and I said, if I stay and I take this huge raise, I think you should start your own landscape business. Because he had been in it for 20 years, working so many hours, probably 15 years at
Yeah.
the time, and still enjoyed it. And I thought, there's no way we can't figure this out. Like, I'll do all the things we don't know how to do, and you just keep running like the jobs and stuff. And so we did that for a year. Very coward thing to do, to go to your spouse and say, you should take a risk. But that fed my
I was
soul for a
thinking, wow,
while.
that was like a perfect explanation of projection. Like,
It was.
one of
Like,
us should be an entrepreneur. It's not going to be me,
it's
but you
you.
should go do it.
Yeah. If it all like burns up and like explodes in our face, it'll be your fault, not mine. Yeah. No.
Oh
And
gosh.
it took some convincing. It took a lot of
Mm-hmm.
convincing. It took like probably half a year. But so anyways, we did all that. I did like social media, built a website, like things, just new skills. And I like to be challenged. And
Yeah.
so that kind of fed me for a
Yeah.
while. And then I had met a lot of entrepreneurs at the time. And then literally one day I was sitting in a cafe with a friend and I was like, I'm just going to host a retreat. And she was like, okay. And I had went to yoga teacher training after I
Mm-hmm.
had like been doing it for a while. And I had never been in a space with a room full of strangers. There were 12 of us. I knew none of them. And we were just all very like best friends, super vulnerable with each other, super supportive of each other, no judgment. And I thought I could create that sort of same type of environment on a retreat, take my love for travel, start teaching yoga in different places, and that would be it. And so I did. I hosted one somewhat locally, just like up north, like a drive from here. I'm in
Uh-huh.
Michigan, and then I did another one that same year in Banff, just Canada, so not far from Michigan. And then I did three or four the following year, and I side hustled it for like probably 2.5 years before I quit my job. So again, wasn't willing to jump with both feet for a while. I was very
Yeah.
nervous.
So no judgment there. Like we all do it in our time. And there's gonna be someone listening to this that hears how you did it, and it's gonna give them permission to just dip their toe.
Yeah, I think
So
a side hustle is a dip the toe. You still have I
Mhm.
still had my income coming in from my other job, so there wasn't a huge financial risk. There's still
Yeah.
money coming in. And I was working more hours than most people should, but I was super passionate about starting the new thing. So I was pretty lit up and energized by that side of things. And yeah, I
I mean,
honestly I wouldn't do it any
a
different. So
there's a level of security. So when you operated in your business, it came from a true place of passion, not desperation of I have to make this money. So
yeah.
you were able to
Have you
make really
ever
good
read
decisions.
what is it, Magic? It's Elizabeth Gilbert. She writes all about that, about how she was
Mm-mm.
an author for ever before she wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And her parents were artists, and she always was like a waitress or some type of just side income, not side income,
Yeah.
just like she lived very minimally and she just covered her expenses by doing like a job like that didn't take up a whole lot of like
Mm-hmm.
mental headspace so that she could just
Yeah.
create for the sake of creating and take all the pressure off. And that really, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, we kind of joke about the delaying, but truly it was just that was your journey. So there's
Yeah.
no judgment or rocks there. But eventually you did step into this
Yeah.
um up to your eyeballs. And so now you're doing it full time.
Yes.
and you're
Yes,
and you're
I actually quit in October of 2019, my lab job, and then 2020 I had to cancel all my retreats. And so I got asked to come back twice, and I just felt like I was like being tested. Like I was like,
um
I'm not interested in going back. I've like made this kind of nest egg / emergency fund in case things go south, and they are. And I'm just gonna
yeah.
be here to ride the storm and like do whatever I'm supposed to do with this space. So it
So
was
how did that feel to honor yourself in that way? Because it would have been really easy to
to
go
go
back.
back. Yeah. It felt like I was like choosing myself for the first time ever.
Mm,
Like, because again, achieve, 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 never thought about what I wanted. And
right.
I was like, no, this is not what I wanted. I can figure this out. Like, I'm intelligent, I'm hardworking, I'm a great troubleshooter, and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for a while, people had asked if I would plan their retreats. And I said no,
Hmm.
because I was like, I don't have anything what I'm doing. I'm just figuring this out. And so I was like, okay, if anything, I've been given a gift of the space to like create what that would look like. So I did start.
Yeah.
I made like a digital course and like an offer that I could actually assist people one-on-one on doing that. And so I thought that was just like, that was what I was supposed to do. But, so,
Yeah. And is that what you're doing still today, is
yeah,
teaching and hosting?
yes, I do both. I'm actually leaning a little more into the planning side of things. I've just had a lot of like we moved and renovated and things, and it was just easier to be home instead of gone all the time because for the last couple of years we've hosted 6 retreats internationally, and this year I only did 2, and next year I'm doing 3. I just wanted to like again create the space and see sort of what I was
Yeah.
brought and given. And it's almost like this, Karen, like being able to like chat with you and like get to know your story. I like love that, and I love hearing like all every entrepreneur that I've stumbled across is like super passionate and has a really cool story about how they like started doing the thing that they're like crazy about.
Yeah.
And planning other people's retreats is the same thing. They've had some like big, like you call it, rock, like awakening, and they want to share this like content to help other people in the same way that they've been, helped in the past. So it's super interesting and fulfilling to hear their stories and help them like create that.
So now that we're coming out of that crazy time between 2020 and 2023, how do you see events going forward? Are you just experiencing like there's nothing holding us back and everybody's
Yeah.
really ready to get back in person and be in each other's energy and face to
Yes.
face?
Yes.
Because
I
that's how
think
I
like
feel. Like I'm
I
so
do
ready.
too.
Like
I feel almost like
I'm ready to
re-energized to
travel.
be doing more of it. Like I feel like you said, kind of 2023 was sort of the cutoff because people are still a little bit nervous, and travel was a little bit weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
And some
um,
spaces more than others
yeah,
or
totally.
states.
Um, yeah, but like I think that it actually helped us in the long run because people were really, really missing like connection, like physical, real connection, and
Yeah,
just
desperately.
that community space. And then also they were given some downtime that they hadn't had in a while. And so to go on a retreat is sort of getting that same gift on your own terms.
Yeah.
And so I do think it helped us in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely has been. I was in a podcast this morning and one of the questions was how did I overcome the challenges that the pandemic brought? And I was like, I really didn't. I lived in Texas and in a very open part. Like Dallas was a little more closed off. I'm in the Dallas area, but our part of the area, there was compliance, but minimal compliance. And so our lives really, I worked remote before, so our lives really didn't change that much. It was harder for my boys because they had to come home and do school virtually, but so our lives changed in that regard, but otherwise they just really didn't change that much. And I sat and kind of reflected on it, and I think in part, blessed to be living where we were, but also you get what you focus on. And we were
Totally.
focused on, this is everything's fine, we're fine, our kids are fine, life is fine.
Yeah.
There's less traffic on the roads. Yay. Like
Yeah.
it was just, it wasn't a time where we were seeking out challenges. And, we were blessed that my husband's job was still very necessary. And so he was able to continue working and we were just really blessed.
Yeah.
My life also, my career kind of had a little blip. I had been going through coaching certification and was working with the Cancer Society. So I had my plan of I was going to slowly dip my toes in. I was going to be like a 3-year plan. And my position, because I was working directly with cancer patients and caregivers in the communities, my position was eliminated.
Okay.
And so I went, my plan got escalated quite a bit,
Yeah.
but it was perfect. Like it really was perfectly divinely timed. And because I was, laid off, I was financially supported from the company and, the pandemic, whatever, you got this extra little bonus.
Yep.
So we, it covered everything. We were so held. And now everybody's moving again. And I'm a part of this team that we do things in Mexico. And, it's wonderful to travel now internationally. We weren't able to do that for a while. And so it's just been so good. So I love that you're doing things internationally. Where do you hold your retreats and what does your international look like?
Sure. We go a lot of different places because we're lucky that we get a lot of repeat guests. So I'm trying to keep it interesting for them. But
Yeah.
we have done Costa Rica 4 or 5 times. It's just a special place for me. I found this small little village in 2018 and we've been back every year. I don't know. It's like family now. I love seeing everybody. But this year we went to Scotland. Last year, Ireland. Next year, Belize, Iceland, Italian Dolomite. We've done a lot of places. We've been to Sicily.
I love it. Now, when you say you're doing this, are you doing this for other people and you're
No,
hosting
those
their
are the
retreats,
ones
or are
that
these
I've
your
hosted.
retreats?
Those are the
Okay.
ones that are mine. I've planned them all over. I actually did 3 in Sedona this fall for 3 different people. Thailand.
So I've never been to Sedona. So what is the special place in Sedona? Like what is the
There's a
best
lot of
parts of Sedona?
good energy, the vortexes, a lot of spiritual history and energy like that. It's also beautiful. If you've ever been to
Yeah.
Utah or Arizona, it's a different landscape than most of the country. I like a little more green and light personally than like desert mountains, but it's still beautiful. I don't want to live there, but
So where's your favorite place to host a retreat? Okay, top 3. I won't make you choose one.
Okay,
It's like choosing your
Rica.
favorite child.
I know. Costa Rica, Scotland, and I haven't hosted there yet, but one of the most beautiful places I've ever been is the Dolomites, the Italian Dolomites. It's the range
So I don't
between
know what the
Italy and
Italian
Austria.
Dolomites is.
It's the mountain range between Italy and Austria.
Okay.
It's insane. It's northern Italy, and it's beautiful. The water is an insane color, turquoise, and the mountains are beautiful. And it sort of has like a small, almost like the Swiss Alps, like a small, like little quaint town, but with really good Italian food. I don't know. It has the best of everything.
Sounds perfect. That sounds perfect. So now that you are living this amazing life that you get to live on your terms, how are things different? Like, how do you see your purpose lived out differently?
Yeah, I just want to enjoy life a lot more. I enjoy helping others. I love encouraging other women to like pursue a life they love because it's something that was really super foreign to me for, the first 30 years of my life.
Yeah.
And I also know that we're all the same and that we want the best for ourselves and each other. And it's like the difference between the people that do live the life that they love is just they just tried it. They just tried and kept going. There's no like huge secret, and I want everybody to know that even though it's like it is hard and it's scary and it takes time, it still is like it's accessible to everybody. It's just trying. But I just find so much more fulfillment in my work. I even when I help people plan their retreats, their main goal is to make money. It's not their why. It's not the thing that drives them, but it is a necessary byproduct to sustain doing this work that they're passionate about. And I love, like, I'm a numbers nerd for sure, but I love empowering women to be able to exchange their services for that energy and income that sustains the life that they do love. There is nothing wrong with charging for your services. You can still donate your time in a different capacity, but you don't have to do it full time.
Yeah.
So,
I love it.
I don't know. I find it just really like I just have that like heartful moments all the time. I just feel like lit up.
Yeah. You can't put a price on that at all.
No.
Well, I want to share your website, so yourwanderingroots.com. Where else can people find you and connect with you? And what is something that you have right now? We'll obviously share it in our notes, but what is something that you really want people to know about you going into this fourth quarter of the year, getting ready for next year? People are starting to plan things, and what is maybe a great retreat that you have coming up that women need to consider, or if they're in coaching and they want to host a retreat, like what are all the ways that they can connect with you?
Website's the best. I really nurture my newsletter, and we keep in touch that way. And if you sign up, there's free gifts on both sides of the coin. If you want to plan or you want to go on one, I give everybody a free travel guide. I've been to a lot of the national parks, so there's lots of places to pick from.
Oh, fun.
I do have spots still for Belize and Iceland, and we do payment plans so people can plan and save and plan ahead, and cover all of your dependents and things like that, your roles and responsibilities. And then I think that this is the perfect time of year to plan a retreat and come out with, your first one or a new offering or a different arm of your business that you've always wanted to explore, maybe a higher offering for your biggest clients that you could roll out at the beginning of, next year and have something new to offer.
So if I or someone like me wanted to plan a retreat, what are the key things that you think we should be considering including? So it needs to have these course pieces or these skeleton pieces.
Yeah.
Because retreats can be so many different things.
Yes. I think that almost everybody that's thinking about hosting has something they want to share, whether that's in like a workshop or something, some type of or massage or therapy or anything like that. This is a container for whatever work you're the most passionate about and sort of need a larger platform to share. And so I always just try to take that content and then sort of get the vibe of what you want and then just make it this very well-rounded, not overly jam-packed itinerary. And food obviously is very important. People have to eat. So whether we find a venue where the food has a chef or you bring your own private chefs, that's how I always do mine. But that's preference. Photography, a lot of people like to use that sort of as an art therapy or just a way for their guests to check out and be off their phones and things. I always like a little aspect of self-care. So whether that's massage, facials, going to a day spa for an afternoon, but creating enough time for introverts and all other humans to rest. 3 to 4 hours of downtime per day is key. You don't want them to be exhausted. And then I like to have daily something, whether that's an excursion to go out and hike in the beautiful landscape that you're staying in, or try something that's very local to the area, or even going on a food tour to experience local cuisine in a very different place than most of your people are from. That really bonds people when they're all outside of their comfort zone. That makes people fast friends. And you want your guests to connect and you want community, even leaving and post retreat.
And is there a special formula 3 days is perfect, or it should be 2.5 days? Is there any
I think that anything less than 3 nights is too short, because say you arrive on a Friday and you have to leave Sunday morning, you only get 1 day with your guests. So I always encourage the shortest to be a 3-night, like a Thursday to a Sunday, if you're trying to do something a little more easy or approachable. Or it's a big ask, right? You're asking people to invest in themselves, but you're also trying to convince them you're not a serial killer because you're staying the night with these people. So it's a big ask. And I now, for the most part, only host 7-day. I like to really get to know everybody. People really turn into lifelong friends if you have more of that time. And I personally like to keep the groups small, 10 to 15. It just kind of gets loud and chaotic for me. I'm also an introvert doing an extrovert's job. So anything bigger than that's a little bit hard for me.
Oh my goodness. So is there merit, because I have considered this and my husband and I have talked about this, doing like women only or male only or couples only or blended? Like I've heard
Yes.
this argued both ways.
Okay, so this is just my experience.
Mm-hmm.
I never said that I was hosting women only retreat, and then I kept getting questions of guys were allowed, and I was like, huh, I never even said they weren't, but they're not signing up. So something's, coming out. So then I
Mm-hmm.
hosted a couples retreat.
Mm-hmm.
I think the second or third year we went to Arizona, Grand Canyon, Antelope Canyon. And I never did one after that. And to be honest, it wasn't bad or anything. It was a little louder and a little more just leisurely than like introspective, I would say. I
Okay.
I am this is not a universal theme, but the women that I've had were just more open and vulnerable, and it was more of an intimate feeling than the couples retreat. And so yeah, I think another personal block for me is my husband would never go on a group trip. I just like assume that everybody's like male partners would never go
Yeah.
on a group trip, and I think that that's just in the back of my mind of like, oh, they won't come.
But what about like not even partners, just opening it up to men or
Totally.
women?
I mean,
I guess
initially,
especially if you're not all in one house, right? Like if you're staying at a hotel where everybody
100%.
has their individual rooms, not one space.
Where you're like sharing bathrooms and things. So I normally
Yeah.
rent privately for my own retreats. I plan plenty that are more at like a resort or a boutique
Mm-hmm.
hotel where you have a whole section and you have more options there because every room has its own bathroom. There is
Yeah.
a company, and I cannot remember the name at all, but they only do large groups, um, men and women, and they're mostly like surf yoga retreats, and they stay in places like that. And I've been wanting to go on one just to experience it as a guest. I wanted to try
Mm-hmm.
to be a guest once a year, and I've only successfully
Mm-hmm.
done it twice. I just haven't made the space or the time.
Yeah.
But I like to put myself in the shoes of that, and just, it's not that I'm taking notes or trying to steal people's ideas. I just really want to be like the guest sometimes and see how
Yeah.
it feels and how to make people more comfortable and maybe consider things I had never thought about.
So what are you most known for with your retreats? Like, is there one thing that Anna always does different? Like, you can always expect this at an event.
We always go to really beautiful places, but I think the thing that we're most known for,
Uh-huh.
is we're the approachable brand. I really feel really great on how I've tried to make wellness like not this like one size fits all. I believe wellness looks different for everybody, and on every
Yeah.
day it looks different. And I've always encouraged everybody to choose their own adventure. I just want the itinerary to be a suggestion. And if like a nap would serve you more than like going out with the rest of us for, an afternoon hike, then that's like a huge compliment that you're not like out of some weird guilt participating in everything. We accommodate everybody's dietary restrictions and allergies without making everybody eat the same thing all week. So, I have people that don't do yoga all week. I have people that try it once. Sometimes we do a yoga
Yeah.
nidra where you just have to lay on the floor, because I want everybody to know that I encourage everybody to try one thing that's outside of their comfort zone, at least one thing. And
That's a great.
I'm pretty notorious for taking them on one really hard hike so that they all bond over dying. I'm kidding. They're just really funny and sarcastic and dramatic,
One
the girls
near-death
that keep coming.
experience and one real quiet one. I love it. I
So
love it. Well, I love what you're doing. I can't wait to experience one of your retreats. It sounds fabulous. I really want to go to
thanks.
this one in Italy. Like, that just sounds like so amazingly delightful.
Yes.
I loved it knowing that you're there. So as I plan mine, I can call in reinforcements and make it
Yeah.
extra special.
I love
So
holding everyone's hand. and saying, listen,
Yeah,
these are all the
well,
mistakes I've made. Let me help you avoid them.
yeah, well, we're all gonna make mistakes, and we know if there's people involved at an event, stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It
Got to
does.
be laid back.
You gotta be able to ebb and flow, but because things just you
Yeah.
can't accommodate
But it's
everything
also
or
like your
plan
wedding
for
where like
everything.
you probably might be the only one that notices, you know, sometimes you think that like
Mhm.
everybody, they're like, ah, everybody noticed. And
Yes.
it's like, no, not really. They're usually,
Yes. Yeah.
so
I hosted an event, a retreat last year, and we got to the hotel, and the room that they had us in looked huge in the photos. And they
no,
told us it will
no.
sit this many people. And we got there and it's like, yeah, it'll sit that many, but it won't, there's no room for them to do anything else. Like we can't get in
Oh,
circles. We can't, like it's for tables. Like I prefer like dinner, right? So,
yeah,
and well, actually, okay, that's not true. They had us at another place and then they had a bigger event booked. So then they moved us.
got it.
So the new place that they moved us to was the smaller place. And they're like, well, we have this one room. It was a boutique hotel. We have this one room. It's really like the penthouse suite, but we could take out the bed. We've done this before, and you guys could have that space. And we're like, what? And so they moved us up there. It was a yoga room. Like everything in it was like very yoga-esque, and it was perfect. It was the penthouse. It was like,
Yeah.
everything got delayed by 30 minutes. They had just set up the bedroom furniture from a previous event, and then they had to move it all out again. And it was perfect. Like
Yeah.
it could not have been better. And they were so accommodating. So sometimes when things go wrong,
Totally.
it's actually just falling into place. And
Totally.
so when you're not so rigid and, have a fit that everything went wrong,
Yeah.
they gave us everything. Like they cut off our prices. Like it worked out so well. And
Yeah.
they were so pleased with our attitude. We were pleased with theirs. It was a win-win. So,
Yeah.
when you're just nice to people, things just go better.
I agree. Kindness always gets you further. And people in those types of spaces, like any type of event space, those people can always figure it out. They want your event to go well. They do this for a living. They're going to figure it out for you. So,
Yep. So I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this information, all of the great resources. I can't wait to have my people check out all your information. So one more time before we go, yourwanderingroots.com. You can also find her on Facebook and Instagram. And where else are you? All over the world?
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. That's about it. Is that it?
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all the major places. So except for TikTok. Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, no. I can't. I don't
We all have our limit.
Social media, I'm at my cap. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I love that you're moving rocks for people with events. I love that you're holding great spaces, and I look forward to more. And I just want to say thank you for moving rocks. And as a listener, if you hear something that's just perked your ears and you're like, oh, I need to learn more about this. Yes, you do. If you're a coach and you want to host a retreat, you need to talk to my friend Anna. Obviously, you can see how passionate she is, how experienced she is. I can imagine if you're this pleasant just sitting here in a conversation, how amazing you are to work with for a retreat. So I'm so excited about this partnership and this new friendship and relationship. So it's going to be amazing. And we know that you're moving rocks all over the world, and so excited to see you continue to shine. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for listening in. We'll see you next time on the Rock Movers. Wow, wasn't today's guest amazing? I hope that you enjoyed them as much as I did, and I hope that you got something super valuable. So just for being here, I want to gift you free access to my Reclaim Your Confidence course. It's a mini course, short 5 modules. It's impactful, yet it's not super heavy. So use VIP 2024 as a code to get free access to this course just for showing up and listening to this entire episode. And I also want to know, what are you getting from this? What would you like to see? What are future episodes? Who do we need to be talking to? Who has some amazing rocks that they want to share? And that's by sharing, commenting, and subscribing to the Rock Movers, and then following me over on social media. We want to stay connected. We want to be a part of your world, and I want to invite you to be a part of mine. If you'd like to book a call, go a little bit deeper into some of these topics, you can find a link to book that call on CoachKarenGray.com. You're always invited to join me there, and I can't wait to dive into deeper conversations with you. That's my way of giving back and saying thank you for being a part of our rock moving community. Until the next episode, or until we jump on the call, have a great day and keep moving those rocks.